Howdy, folks, and welcome to the Hunting Stories Podcast. I'm your host, Michael, and we have another great episode for you today. I'm going to keep this short and sweet, but today we have Weston Homa. Weston gave us a great story. It's an epic tale of perseverance. You can actually watch the entire thing on YouTube. He's got a clip for that. I'll make sure to put a link to that in the show notes. But thank you guys for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. Make sure you follow us, hit the subscribe button, give us a review, all of that stuff. Thank you guys very much for tuning in. Weston, thank you for coming on the podcast. Now let's go ahead and kick this thing off. Thank you. All right, Weston, welcome to the Hunting Stories Podcast, brother. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having me on. How are you?
Dude, I'm excited to talk with you. Thanks so much for coming on. You're another individual, I believe, that filled out my little form, and I'm really trying to get a lot of people to do that, so I'm mentioning it here at the beginning, but I do have a form for people who wanted to come on and tell some stories. Weston, thank you for doing that, man. I really appreciate it. And you talked to my buddy Jared, who kind of is like an unofficial producer on the show here, and he says you have some pretty awesome stories, so I'm pretty excited to connect with you today, man.
Yeah, I'm stoked. I've been invited on to do a few podcasts now, the more I put myself out there on social, and definitely after starting my YouTube channel, after filming my hunts this past fall, I've gotten to be invited on a few more, and stumbled across your podcast, thought it was really cool, and saw you guys throw that up, and I was like, I don't know, I'll fill this out. I got my YouTube videos behind it. Maybe I can come on and tell it, and people want to go watch it, they can. Connected with Jared, and then here we are. Yeah.
Here we are, man. So let's do this. Why don't you introduce yourself, kind of who you are, where you come from, how long you've been hunting, so that people know kind of who they're hearing some stories from today.
Yep. So my name is Weston Homa. I'm from Pennsylvania, southwestern PA, out around Pittsburgh. Grew up hunting, doing all that. Very outdoorsy, typical Pennsylvania deer camp kind of family. And for me, hunting's been a huge journey as far as like personal development and things like that. Yeah. It's a huge passion in my life. I grew up hunting whitetails, like I said. For me, it was like hunting a lot of private. I did grow up. My dad had a few acres, enough for us to like get out and bow hunt, definitely get out doing it. And then we go hunt public come rifle season, and always enjoyed it and everything, but didn't always have the best attitude. Like killed a lot of deer. Yeah, killed a lot of deer and everything, but like my passion for it and everything that like I feel like I live for now, I train for every day, I think about all the time, is when I started hunting the West about 4 years ago.
Yeah, it'll do it to you. That'll do it to you.
Oh my gosh, man. The mountains, everything. It's really changed the whole direction of my life. I've implemented more discipline in my life, just training and just getting just so infatuated with it. And then it's actually helped me back home here to where I love to like challenge myself even more. And I hunt my whitetails on public, kind of like mobile hunting style. So it's just really done so much for me, and I love it. Now cool, I hunt the West every year. I love just the hard do-it-yourself hunts, backpacking in. It's what I think about all year round, man, and I plan to do it forever.
Hell yeah. So, okay, what states have you hunted out West? Let's start there.
Yep. So I've hunted Colorado a bunch of times. Let me think. I guess 3 times over-the-counter elk, basically.
Okay.
Mule deer. I punched a mule deer tag in 2023 on a 4x4 buck. And then the story I'm going to get into last year was archery elk. I rifle hunted the first couple years going out West, but now I mostly just really infatuated with bow hunting. And I find that I'm going to start getting a lot of these tags purely just for the archery season going forward.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
And I've hunted Idaho, and let me think. And then this year coming up, it should be Colorado and Idaho again. I got my Idaho elk tag already, but I'm waiting to hear back from the draw I just put in for Colorado mule deer, archery deer. So should draw that. Yeah.
Nice. Good luck. I had a question for you, but I forgot. Oh, what was the catalyst that took you from like, okay, I kind of dig hunting a little bit here in Pennsylvania, and then being like, I got to get out West and see what that's like? Like, what was it? Just something you've always wanted to do? Or what, did a friend plan a trip? Or like, what was the moment where you made that happen and then fell in love with it?
Always something I wanted to do for sure. I grew up watching a lot of hunting shows and everything, like my family does. It's just like the Outdoor Channel was just like always on, but I never really took to it when I was watching like Lee and Tiffany hunt 200-inch whitetails in Iowa. Like, that's really cool, but like,
Yeah.
I can't really relate to that. I don't have that property, or
Yeah.
even
Don't
if they're
have 700
hunting
acres
over
that you can
corn.
feed
Yeah.
steroids to the deer.
Yeah. And I didn't even really, I wasn't even drawn to it really that much anyway, but like watching something like Meat Eater, where it was more of an adventure, and
Yeah.
I now see the passion and everything. And I'm still a huge fan of Steve Rinella. So something I always wanted to do for sure. And then my dad had started going out west a couple years with some guys. And then he did ask me to go for the first year. And I said, hunting for me was always just this fixed ladder stand on a field edge on some private. And the deer were either there or they weren't.
Yeah.
And I had fun doing that, had some success doing that, but like never really felt like I could do something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, man, the mountains, you get up and you can actually move, like go make a play every day.
Yeah.
And
You can walk 10 miles.
yeah. And the whole physical fitness side of things, that's really when I started running. I'm huge, like I said, it's changed my life, man. I'm a huge into the endurance of it now over the years since I started going out there. I've kept up with running, ultra marathons. It's just my thing now. But anyway, that's what really tricked for me. And I was just like, maybe out there, like I could like make something happen. And then I remember I backpacked Wyoming. We did that, my dad, my brother, and I, in high school.
Okay.
I just loved the West. It was a 8-day backpacking in the Wind River and fishing and just purely backpacking. And I always thought, like, man, if I had a weapon like this, I just feel like this would be my bread and butter.
Yeah.
And then sure enough,
I just wish I could kill something right now.
I know. So we got these elk tags, and like ever since that first trip, man. And I didn't punch that tag, but saw a bunch of elk, had the bugles. I mean, I hate being that guy that, everybody has it. 90% of elk hunters are unsuccessful. So everybody comes back saying, yeah, we saw some, just couldn't get it done, blah, blah, blah. And that just, like, whatever, dude, that's cool, but it drives me nuts, dude. I hate losing, but I also embrace like learning and always trying to get better. So I've just kept up with that, and then the success started to finally come a little bit.
Yeah, man, that story adds up. I think it's your story is unique. Don't get me wrong, but it is a story that happens to a lot of hunters. Where it's like, I didn't even hunt, but all of a sudden I'm in the mountains. I'm like, man, this is hard. This is fun. Like, you just fall in love with like the effort you have to put in and the adventure and all of those things. So it's very true to people listening. You got to get out there and try it once. Yeah, man, that's cool. I like hearing someone as passionate as you. It reminds me of like when I started. Elk Shape kind of got me into that with all the fitness. I never got into running. I never will get into running. So good on you for that. Not for me, but yeah, the fitness part of it, the whole thing it's this whole thing. It's a lifestyle. So that's very cool. But we're not here to talk about that shit, Weston. All right. So let's cut that out. Let's hear some stories, man. I want to hear about some of your adventures. I don't know if you're going to start with a particular one that I'm pretty excited for, but you set the stage. Where are we going? Hey, hunters. Have you ever had one of those stories, the ones that you didn't want to tell, the ones that end in failure? Yeah, I've been there. Actually, you know what? The culprit for me usually is bad optics, or worse, lack of using my optics at all. Picture this. I spot a trophy buck, or an antelope, or an elk, whatever it may be. My heart is racing, but the blurry view, or I just can't quite identify exactly what I'm looking at, it has me second guessing. Well, that's where Vortex Optics comes in. With crystal clear glass and rugged durability, Vortex gives you the confidence to take the shot. Don't let poor optics ruin your story. Make every moment count. Upgrade to Vortex and turn your hunting tales into triumphs. Visit vortexoptics.com today.
So I do have a direction here, and I think this is going to be worth the listen. So
perfect.
I will preface and say I do have a YouTube channel now. I didn't know what I was doing to start my fall 2024 hunting adventures. I just was out there with a Sony RX100 with a little external mic clipped on, and I've made some hunt films now, and like they've started to get some reach. So the story I'm about to tell, it is on my YouTube channel, but here I'll just dive into it.
Hell yeah.
Okay, so the plan for 2024 for Weston originally looked like this. I picked up a Idaho mule deer tag in they go on sale so early, December of 2023 for the 2024 season. So I buy this mule deer tag to hunt solo by myself. I had 2 weeks to get it done, included 3-4 days scouting on the front end. And it was going to be just me. So that was the plan. And like I said, dude, I absolutely love this. I train all year round, ultra marathons, all this stuff. So plan for it all year. I've done solo trips in the past, extended weekends like back east just to get used to it. I did 5 days scouting in Colorado. Or no, it was like 6 days scouting in Colorado solo. Again, just like building the skill of solo hunting. And then I was like, I'll just go scout the unit. Then I'm going to come back and hunt with some guys. I did that. But this was the first extended solo hunt in the mountains by myself, backpacking in. So season starts to come around, and this is archery season. So it's the end of August. I'm out here in Pennsylvania. I got a 33-hour drive ahead of me. I'm so obsessed. But I got everything planned out. I'm e-scouting like a madman, like my hunt plans, everything. So as the week is starting to come, I am watching onX and everything, and I see these wildfires start to pop up. And the unit that I was hunting wasn't necessarily a big unit anyway. And Idaho's deer tags are different from their elk tags, to where your deer tag is only good for one unit as a non-resident. Okay. The elk tags are a zone. It's like multiple units. They have elk zones. And but I was just stuck to this one unit. It was a very small unit. So I see this fire pop up, and it's starting to grow just about every day leading up to when like I'm trying to leave after work on a Friday or whatever it was. God, but I'm like, whatever. Like I'm going, yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like whatever. So got the truck loaded up. As I'm driving out there, like it took me a couple days, and I'm just by myself, sleeping in the truck, clipping off as much driving as I can do. And I get there to scout for a couple days early. So as I'm going, and I have a hunt plan of hunt plan A, B, C, D, and I wanted to set myself up to maybe bounce around a couple times during the 3-4 days of scouting I had. Okay. As I'm going out there, this fire starts to get so big, it literally takes out my plans A through D. Like I'm on plan E. Jesus. And I had only A through E plans. Yeah. So I'm choked down to this one area of national forest that's still open. Everything else is closed because of these fires. And I'm like, this is just unbelievable. But I'm like, I just need one. Like it just takes one. Yeah. So I get out there, and now my plan is actually, I can't even get to this little area that's still open from my unit. I had to park outside of the unit and hike in 6 miles into my unit to the unit border and then start hunting. Jeez. So I had a 6-mile hike in before I could do anything. Yeah. Then I got into my unit, and then it opened up to where I had some square miles of openness. And it was some high country. It wasn't, like I said, my top plan, but it had potential, I figured. So I get up in there, and I spend and I just bring like 3-4 days of food. I leave my bow in the truck because why bring, everything? I just want to scout. I'll come back after the few days of scouting, grab more food and the bow, and I'll come back for opening day. So as I'm going, there's this big shift in the winds. And I think what it was, we got these north winds that came through. And the day before opening season, I'm out there by myself, no cell service, nothing. Ugh. And this smoke is really rolling in. And now I'm about 10 miles from my truck. So, and I'm from Pennsylvania. I don't know much about wildfires or how much smoke is too much smoke or anything. Again, I don't have cell service. You can watch it in the YouTube video. I'm kind of just sitting there like, I don't really know what to do. I don't know if you can fall asleep out here with all this smoke. And plus I'm by myself. I'm over rationalizing everything. I can't bounce an idea off anybody. It's like, am I going to be okay? Seriously. I didn't know. I didn't know how close the fire was either. So there was a point to where I couldn't even glass. The last evening before my plan to pack down to the truck, I was up high in this basin at like 10,000 feet, and the smoke was so bad I couldn't even. I was like, I can't even glass. I can't even see down to where my tent is. So I go back down to my tent, and it's the day before. Let me think. Yeah, the day before the opening season. And I decide, okay, the smoke's getting really bad, but this is the only area I have left to hunt. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to wake up, pack the 10 miles because I'm 6 miles in to start hunting. And then at this point, I was at the furthest spot I could go, which was 4 miles past that. So I woke up and I said, okay, I'm going to pack back down in the truck. I'm going to leave my camp. I'm going to cache camp on the unit border, basically, on top of the mountain. I'm going to cache camp and then hike down to the truck, grab my bow and more food, and come back up. Again, it's smoky as all hell. I don't know how I'm going to do this. And to make things worse, I really only glassed up some does. I didn't even get on like any good bucks or anything, like you can see in the video. So, but at this point, during the archery season for that tag, you could have took a doe, and I was really thinking about it because I didn't know what this fire was going to do or anything. So
yeah, it might blow through and burn the whole unit down.
Yeah. So here's what happened. I spend the entire day hiking back down in the truck. I leave camp up on the mountain because I was going to be coming back up to hunt. I get down to my truck. I'm at this trailhead, and there was a map there from Forest Service with everything X'd out that said all these trails are closed. This whole area is closed down. They had a map with the hunt unit in it. Everything closed. Yeah. Crossed out. Like everything. So I can't hunt. I can't do anything. So I'm sitting there in my truck. My camp is back up on the mountain, 6 miles in, about 3,000 foot climb or whatever it was.
Whew. Okay.
And I'm sitting there, and you can see it in the video, and I'm just like, I am so screwed. I don't know what to do. And I don't have cell service. I did have an inReach, but it's hard to get information from your dad and trying to explain the situation.
Yeah.
So it's probably like 4:00 in the afternoon, and I was like, all right, I'm not going to just sit here and cry. So I hiked back up to camp, and I showed my phone at the end of that day because now it's dark. And I decided to just sleep out in, I guess, the closure. But I had hiked 21 miles that day and climbed, I forget, a couple hundred floors is what my phone said because I was so far in, had to hike back to the truck and then back up the mountain. It was tough. And this whole time, I don't know what I'm going to do. So then
this is still the day before the season even started.
This is day before opening day. Yep.
God, okay.
So now I go to bed. I wake up. My voice is so hoarse because all this smoke and all the hiking. I'm just screwing myself up, basically.
Okay.
Put my camp in my pack down in the truck. I got a good hour drive of this, driving through all this smoke to even get cell service. So I'm driving out, and I'm like, dude, and the thing too, for the listener, like, this is my life. This is what I do. If you see my social media pages and everything I share and whatever, these backcountry adventure hunts, it's my life. It's what I train for. It's what I think about all the time. Like, I'd love to do it for a living one day, kind of thing. But I get 4 weeks of vacation for work every year. And I think the last 3 years, every single one of those was spent like in the mountains. Yeah. This is just what I do. So this was my first solo extended hunt out there. And I'm just the whole time just feeling sorry for myself, being like, this is so unfair, blah, blah, blah. So I get into town and I go and talk to a Forest Service ranger, and then I call Fish and Game and I'm explaining the situation. Basically, Fish and Game told me, I'll start with Forest Service. Forest Service said, hey, buddy, I don't know what to tell you. Like, we're going to be fighting these fires for months. People come here in backpack, like, they're screwed. Like, I don't know what to tell you. It's only going to get hotter. We're not getting any rain. We're getting more of these winds. like tough.
Yeah. Shit out of luck.
Welcome to, Idaho. So I then I called, then there was a Forest Service office there. I went and talked to them in person, and then I called Fish and Game. So Fish and Game was like, yeah, we've been getting calls about that unit with that fire and everything. And I said, can I get a different tag? Can I exchange my tag? Like, what can I do? Like, I'm here. I just drove 33 hours from Pennsylvania. This is my vacation. This is everything. And they said, we do usually have the option for people to exchange tags in situations like this. But since the season had already started, because I packed out basically on opening day.
Yeah.
Since the season had already technically started, I wasn't allowed to exchange my tag.
Oh, that's okay. That's dumb, but continue.
Yeah. So I was like, you got to be kidding me. Like, well, what can I do? And she's like, well, we're going to have meetings about it next week. We're waiting for emails from our supervisor. I want to say this would have been, I think it was Friday, August 30th. That was opening day in Idaho. Mm-hmm. And she was like, well, and it's at the end of the day. And she's like, we'll probably have more information come like Monday or Tuesday. And I'm like, lady, I just drove days from Pennsylvania. Like, I'm not just going to stay in town here. Like, can I do it? Basically, everybody just told me you're shit out of luck, buddy.
Yeah.
So I refuse to have a negative mindset. I feel like the younger me probably would have been just upset, said I'm unlucky, drove home. And then if you really think about it, I probably would have drove home, told the story, and everybody would have said, like, yeah, you are an unlucky son of a bitch. Like, you are.
Yeah. They wouldn't have blamed you. It would have been the end of the story and game over.
No. And that would have been my identity. You know what I mean? And then I'm just a miserable, sad sack of shit, like, the rest of the year. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay. I'm not.
That might be a little far, taking it a little far, but okay.
No, but like, it just like, you are what you tell yourself. Yeah. All these things. So I'm like, no, I refuse to tell myself that. I'm going to write the story that I want to tell. So all this being said, during this time, I had been talking to a buddy who I just met on Rock Slide. Don't know him personally at all. He's older than me. I'm in my later 20s. I think he's in his younger 40s. Whatever. We met on Rock Slide talking about mule deer hunting. He was from a different part of Pennsylvania. I don't know, just a real cool dude. And we were just BSing about mule deer. I was picking his brain because he'd been hunting the West for a long time. And he had told me he was going to go and hunt mule deer in Colorado with a couple guys this year during like the same time, the archery season. So I get out of town and I call this guy. And he's like, why are you calling me? Aren't you hunting? And I told him the situation and everything. And I said, look, dude, I just love these mountains and these hunts and everything so much. Like, can I just be like, come and just be like camp MVP? Like, I don't want to go home. And I was like, here's the worst thing. I'm with more experienced guys. I learn more about mule deer. I just love like taking pictures, like everything. Like I'll do that. I'll pack meat out. Like I'll just do whatever. Like I just love being part of it. And he was like, sure, dude, 100%. You're more than welcome. He's like, we'll be here in Colorado. Like he sent me an OnX pin. We'll be there tomorrow at noon. And I'm like, perfect. That's like an 8-hour drive. I can get a hotel tonight, get up, and I'll meet him there. And that's what I did. So that's my new plan. Again, this is all, and I'm filming this for a YouTube hunt, thinking I'm going to go and kill this massive, like, Boone and Crockett, like, mule deer solo. Yeah. And none of this is working out, but I was like, I'll just keep filming. So now at this point, I'm driving down there, and then I thought, dude, wait a minute. What are the odds where they're hunting is an over-the-counter elk tag? Like, what are the odds? Because you have to draw mule deer everywhere in Colorado, and there's only so many over-the-counter archery elk units. Well, sure enough, it was.
Yeah.
And I asked that guy, I called him back in the morning, and I was like, hey, dude, I don't want to take away anything from your hunt, but do you guys have elk tags? And they were like, no. He actually didn't have a deer tag. He had a bear tag, and he was kind of like guiding his two buddies, and they had the deer tags. And I was like, well, I promise I won't be a burden or nothing, but do you care if I get an elk tag? And he was like, hell yeah. Like, go for it. And I'm like, oh my God, like the hunt's back on. Like I'm hunting again. All of a sudden I'm hunting again. And what was really cool was like and I forgot to mention this at the beginning, my whole fall was supposed to be this Idaho archery deer hunt and then late October, over-the-counter rifle elk in Colorado.
Okay.
So now all I'm doing is basically buying that elk tag now.
Yeah, it's getting
archery
a couple
season.
months early or a month early.
That's all. Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, okay. And so I buy this elk tag, and then quick little side note, the Idaho deer tag is good for the whole fall. It's not just the archery season.
You go back there in October. There you go.
So I'll tell this at the end, but real quick, dude, I didn't waste any money or time or nothing, vacation. I just flip-flop my hunts, just like that.
For all things considered, that's pretty damn convenient.
Yeah, I did think, I was like, the only thing that wasn't foreseen was like the drive from Idaho to this part of Colorado, which like wouldn't have been really part of the plan. But I was like, with all things considered, what's another couple tanks of gas? But literally, that's all it was. Just flip-flop my hunts. So I was like, this is crazy. I'm like, let's go. So now this is like the first time I'm archery elk hunting. I've rifle hunted elk a couple years. I went and hunted mule deer late season with a rifle, but now I'm elk hunting with a bow. So I get to this trailhead. There's 3 guys. And again, the one guy I don't really know, I've just talked to on the phone. I meet him in person, and then his 2 buddies, I don't know at all. and now we're going to go share a camp together. And it ended up being the most fun group. Guys,
awesome.
Just with the best attitude. And the one guy that I'm saying, like, I kind of knew on the phone, we talk every day now, like, fast forward. Like, he's kind of like my mentor. We're actually hunting. So I said, I just put in for the Colorado deer draw. I'm going with him.
Okay.
So he's like my new hunting partner. Yeah. So
that's amazing, man. I'm a big fan of that. I've done that a few times where I showed up into and I still am in contact with at least one person from every one of those camps. It's just a bunch of people hoping for a really good time. So they're in general great places to be and great people to meet. Are you ready to elevate your archery game? Summit Bowstrings delivers premium strings for all archers, crafted with bloodline fiber and BCY material stretched for unmatched consistency. Choose from 3 series: Hunter, Competition, and Summit. Each string is built bison tough with unique techniques for extreme durability and performance. Ideal for both seasoned hunters and target archers. Experienced strings designed to handle any challenge. Visit summitbowstrings.com and use HSP10 for a 10% discount.
Yeah, it was awesome. So everybody had a good attitude. Everybody was like all in, and it was great. So I kind of want to start jumping ahead here a little bit. So we pack in, and again, this is all I'm just filming all this. I'm like, holy shit, I can't believe this is all happening. We pack into this basin. We get there. So now Colorado's opener is a few days after Idaho. So we get there and we pack in the day before. We get to scout into this basin. And we glassed up some bucks. We actually saw a sow with some cubs. I glassed up some sheep. And then I said, hey, I'm going to go way up here, up over 12,000, climb into this other basin just to glass in this other basin. And I glassed up this herd of elk. And one, I think he was only a 4x4, but he was like the herd bull of an over-the-counter elk unit. He was like chasing off this like little raghorn. And I was like, that will be plenty for me. So we got elk, we got deer night before the opener. And I'm like, let's go. So, get up the next morning. I get up at like 3:30 in the morning to pack into this basin. Cause I'm like, it's happening. Well, long story short, I basically blew that stock. I got on that herd, didn't get it done. I was up at like 12.5 chasing these elk. They were way up high, and I actually clipped myself out. Couldn't get any closer, and they were that bull was like 114 yards, I think it was.
God,
and,
that sucks. I clipped out that
because I went in on a stalk, thinking like, oh, I'll get to that rock, and then I'm like, shit. Like, I learned so much. Like, what I should have did was range that rock, range them, and then realized, did the math, should have did something different. But I make this stock, and I'm like, damn, I can't go any further. So blew that stock, but I'm still chasing these elk. Those guys chase deer. We had some fun for a couple days, but then we decided to split up. They were going to go to a new spot, different mountain, and I said, "Hey, I glassed. We had glassed elk on this other mountain, and I said, "Hey guys, I'm just going to go chase these elk." And they were like, "All right, sounds good." So the rest of the week I spent by myself chasing elk with my bow at 12,000 feet. You can see in the video I got on stalks on a couple other herds. And then the end of the week, it was Thursday. Again, I'm going in, I'm trying to kill a bull. It's really tough in the early season, I've learned. Like, they're herded up. They're not really, rutting hard or anything. Like, they're elk are being elk. Like, there's some bugles, like the bigger herds, like they were, just elking around. But the matriarch cows and the calves, like they're kind of like on the perimeter patrolling, and that's kind of how it would always like bust me. And then just learning, just trying to be a better bow hunter, just with stalking elk. And then finally I got to this other spot. It was one of the deepest, nastiest drainages I've ever seen. And sure enough, there's a bunch of other elk there. And I get there towards the end of the one day, and I said, this is where they are. I don't know how I'm going to get one out of here. But this is what it's going to be. I'm like 4 miles in. I'm like 4,000 feet from the truck, running around at 12,000 by myself.
Yeah.
And and it's like,
how that altitude treats you. I know that you were in Idaho before that, but did you get affected by going up that high? A lot of people do when they come from lower ground.
Even since my first year, man, this is, be honest, never really has been an issue. I do say, I know it can affect anyone, but I really try to do a lot with my endurance and everything. And I'll be breathing heavy, like you're sucking wind at some points a little bit, but never really made me sick.
No loss in sleep or dizziness. Okay, good.
No.
I know some buddies that, like, as soon as they hit like 10K, they're like, can't do it. Like, they have to hunt under that line. Doesn't bother me. I got my moose this year at like 11.5, so I don't mind getting up there. Yeah.
If I think being hydrated is a big part of it too. But you'll see in the video, there was a day or two I was running around up there. I had to pack in water. Ran out of water for a good day, and that's those are feelings that are tough to explain. Like, I try to do these ultra marathons and these hard things to prepare. Like, I ran a 70-mile ultra marathon this past year. I'm going for 100 miles.
Chasing you? Why would you do that?
I know. Well, this is kind of like what I found that's kind of helped. Like, I'm going for a 100-miler this year, and like doing those hard things, pushing your body,
good on you, man.
Getting really comfortable with being uncomfortable, super dehydrated. I can kind of leverage that when I'm out there. Like, I can kind of be like, well, dude, I did that. I ran for 15 hours straight. I think I can make it here another night without
You
water.
Like Cam Haines, don't you? I have a feeling you like Cam Haines.
I think he's a great influence.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, cool. Let's go back to the story. Sorry.
So we're so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go chase these out. But I know, I don't have the wind right. I'm better off waiting in the morning, waiting for that sun to come up, heat up everything, get up above them, and creep down. So I spend like all day stalking down on this herd, and I'm now getting down like in the timber a little bit, and I'm like, they gotta be here. I heard them all bugling last night. There were dozens of them, and it's all on video. And sure enough, like, things open up, and man, dude, it was like, I'll never forget. I did take like a moment of presence. I'm in this basin. It looks like a Bob Ross painting. There's no other hunters.
Yeah.
Over the counter, Colorado. No other hunters. By myself. Couple dozen head of elk. Bulls bugling way down kind of in the bottom. These cows and calves, the calves are bedding. The cows are like feeding. And I'm like, this is just unbelievable. And then I told myself the night before, like, dude, these cows keep busting you. And it's an either sex tag. If I get an opportunity to cow, I think I'm going to take it. And sure enough, I did. She was good size too. She was right on the outskirts, and I'm like, if I go anywhere, she's going to bust me. And I said, I'm going to range her, and I feel like I can really make that shot. And when I ranged her, I was thinking, like, dude, that open country and elk are so big. I was kind of taken back. I was like, 53. And I ranged and it said 69 yards. I'm like, oh my God. But I was like, I know I can make that shot. I felt so confident. She was a touch quartering away, and I flung an arrow, man. And I'd heard it hit. She ran up in these little like jack pines, and then these calves got up, and they were all running back the other way. And I'm like, what's going on? And then I just watched that cow just roll right over.
That's awesome.
She didn't go more than 20 yards, and I had no blood trail, nothing. She was right there, and the whole herd blows out. I'm just standing there being like, I can't believe everything that happened, like between Idaho, and then I'm out here just getting after it by myself at 12,000 feet, like running around solo. And now I got my first like archery elk down, and
400 pounds of meat to get out of the mountains.
Dude, I am so stoked. And like, yeah, so I didn't mention this in the video, but I'll tell it real quick. So I tried to also be smart. I mean, I'll do whatever it takes to obviously get an animal out, but I did have service on this mountain, and I had called around for just a packer.
Yeah.
I did talk to, I found one guy that said, hey, I can't get horses in there, but I might be able to give you 2 guys with backpacks. And I was like, that's great, because this drainage is so steep. Like, that's even better.
Yeah.
So I arrowed this cow, and I call that guy back, and I'm like, hey, I got a big cow down. Like, he's like, congrats, man. Let me call those guys. I'll give you a call back. And I was like, all right, I got work to do. Like, sounds good. And I got this big north slope creek. It was getting into the 30s at night. I knew that would be good. Get it in the pines, this creek should be all right. He calls me back that night and says, hey, I can only get you 1 guy. And I was like, okay, well, here's what I'll do. I'll take 1 lighter load, like neck meat, back straps, tenderloin, all that. I'll take that to camp tonight, because I had to debone. I did everything myself, deboned everything, hung everything in meat bags, and then I was a good mile or 2 from camp, and I had to climb out of this hellhole. So I was like, all right, I'll take that light load up to camp, wake up in the morning early, and then pack camp in that lighter load of meat down to the truck, meet that guy, and then we'll both come back up for the heavy loads of like each having a front and rear quarter deboned, and then come back down. And I was like, that won't be that's definitely doable.
Yeah.
I wake up in the morning, just on cloud 9. I wake up and that guy calls me back and says, dude, sorry, I can't get you any help.
Oh, damn it.
So I was like, you gotta be shitting me. So then I'm like, well, what about those other guys I was with? So, and I had already in-reached him, like, dude, because they didn't have cell service, but I did. But we had in-reaches, like the Garmins. And I said, and I had obviously told him, like, dude, I arrowed a cow. And he had told me at literally the same time, dude, I just shot a bear. Like
hell yeah.
he picked up this bear tag thinking like, I'll just get something.
Yeah.
Because the other guys had the deer tags. So he kills this cinnamon bear, which was like unreal. So at this time now I'm like, well, maybe he's in town with that bear. So I call him and I was like, hey dude, like, what are you doing? And he was like, I'm in town. Well, he's like, I'm over an hour away. I'm getting this bear checked in, all this stuff. And I was like, dude, listen, I tried to get a packer and I don't want to take away from your hunt or anything, but I got this elk down and, like, can you help me? And he was like, dude, listen, like, I got like, it's going to take time here. I still got to go to the taxidermist and I have the inReach. The guys, I left them on the mountain. I don't have a way to communicate with them. I don't want to leave them overnight. And I was like, listen, no, don't even worry about it. Like, that's like a safety thing, like no hard feelings. Don't even worry about it. And then I started thinking, well, there's no way that creek gets above 50 degrees. It freezes overnight, basically, that meat. I said, I'm good. I just,
you take your time.
Yeah. It's just going to suck. But
yeah, a lot.
It's going to be really hard. But I'm going to, screw it. I'm doing this.
Yeah.
And so I packed down the truck with all my camp and that light load, turn right back around, grab that next load, come back down to the truck, And then by that time it was night, and I was like, well, I might as well sleep a couple hours. Like, I'm not gonna make it.
Yeah.
And then woke up the next day, got the last load and back down. Each one of those full trips took me 7 hours.
Each one.
So,
Woo! So
yeah,
20,
each
basically
one.
a full day of packing, 21 hours.
Yep. So let me think. I arrowed her Thursday evening. Thursday night, went to bed, woke up. Friday morning, took that light load down. Rest of the day Friday, back up, back down, slept in the truck. Got up super early Saturday, a couple hours of sleep. Yeah, went back up and then back down. And by Saturday, by lunchtime, I got back to the truck. I had felt like I ran an ultra marathon. It literally felt like the same thing, like a big one too. But then it was perfect. I called those other guys and I was like, hey, I just got this elk down. Like, what are you guys up to? And I knew their plan was to leave. And they were like, hey, we're packing out right now. We're going to be in town in 20 minutes. Do you want to meet for a burger? And I was like, that sounds tremendous.
Yeah. I bet you're like, calories. I just need calories.
You'll see in the video, I filmed also the pack out and me back in my truck. Dude, my eyes are like glazed over. But I'm happier than all hell because now I've like built this confidence too. Like, to be honest with you, like I just packed an elk out by myself. Like, if I ever need to do that, like I know I can do it. So we go into town and we are just, I wish I took pictures of this part because it's like, it's 4 guys in Sitka gear, all bloody. Everybody's got an awesome story to tell because the guys, it was their first like mountain Western hunt with the deer tags, and they both had stalks. And the one dude did fling an arrow, but they're confident he shot under it. But they had stories, and the other guy had killed the bear, and I killed my elk, and people in there are like, "Oh, you guys had any luck?" Like,
yeah, those little mountain towns, man, they love it. They love talking to hunters.
They loved it.
Yeah,
and it was like just the best, man. And so it's all on YouTube. It's called A Wild Turn of Events because that's what it felt like it was. And then don't have to go too far into it or whatever because I know I've been rambling here, but that deer tag, was still good. So I have this crazy experience or whatever. I come home, and then I actually go bear hunting. I arrow a bear, and I'm keeping an eye on these fires.
In Pennsylvania, you shot the bear.
New Jersey. So New Jersey's got a pretty big bear hunt out here now.
Per capita, they have the most bears of any state, I heard, which is crazy to think about, but okay.
Pretty crazy. Because let me think. It was like, I think I threw a couple whitetail sits here in Pennsylvania. Keep an eye on these fires and everything. What am I going to do with this deer tag? Went and hunted bears, arrowed a bear, came home, and then I got an email from Idaho Fish and Game that said, hey, with the whole fire and everything, you can get a refund if you want to. Like, we'll give you a refund. Because most of the unit, the fire was gone now at this point. Like, we're in mid-October. But, a lot of it burned. Yeah. And but it was up to me, like, wanted a refund or not. But I slept on it, and I decided, I'd regret not going back. So I go back. I literally get that bear taken care of. This next weekend rolls around. I keep that PTO just like in the PTO bank at work, and I still took it. And then I go back to Idaho by myself, and now I'm hunting late season mule deer, and that is on my YouTube channel as well. That hunt film, and that kind of blew up a little bit. But that was a late season hunt by myself, rifle in all the snow and the suck of the weather and everything. Yeah. And that was awesome too. But
that's great. Did you harvest an animal on that trip? I hope.
I did not. It was extremely tough. I did pass up some smaller bucks, and I saw a lot of does. Yeah. I was still really pinched down to just a couple areas. I was fighting pressure, obviously the weather, but that's not an excuse. And then it was just also a general deer unit. It wasn't anything special, but I did kick up a couple really good bucks still hunting. That seemed to be the only thing I could do to turn up a buck. Because when I was glassing evenings and mornings, it was just a lot of does with fawns, like just coming out in the open. So still hunting was the only thing that kind of worked. Blew out a couple good bucks. One buck I still dream about, like to this day. He was huge 4x4, deep forks.
Okay.
And he gave me the slip. But no, man, it was tough, and I gave that trip my all, dude. Up like everything I had. But
I believe it.
No, it definitely made me a better hunter, and I'm glad I went.
That's awesome, man. That's an amazing story. I would say I'd have to guess like 95+% of people, when they were in that burn situation, wouldn't have even hung out in the woods as long as you did, let alone jumped out and then gone to a different state, bought a new tag, and hunted something else. So good on you for that. That takes a lot of I don't know what the word is. I don't know, willpower. I don't know, but like just a kick-ass attitude.
Yeah, I think I'm huge on like the mindset stuff and the personal development stuff, and I just felt like this trip really encapsulated that, because it truly was like I kept at every turn I kept getting like my butt kicked.
Yeah.
But you gotta just keep a good head on your shoulders. You don't know what's gonna happen, and you just gotta keep going, man.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. Well, cool, man. Well, do you have any other stories you want to share, or was it just that big epic one there? Up to you. We have about 10 more minutes before we got to wrap this thing up. What do you say? Imagine this. You're deep in the wilderness. The sun is rising, casting golden light over rugged terrain. Your heart races as you navigate through the backcountry, knowing the perfect shot could come at any moment. This is where memories are made and stories are born. Ultralight rifles are often seen as Mountain West guns, but the Ridgeline FFT from Christensen Arms breaks that mold. This stellar, lightweight rifle is your perfect companion, whether you're in the backcountry or box blind, ensuring you never have to switch between your builds. With its aero-grade carbon fiber barrel and stock, the Ridgeline FFT is incredibly lightweight, yet powerful. Thanks to its innovative side baffle brake, it reduces recoil even on a 5-pound gun shooting magnum calibers. It's like black magic. As a sub-MOA tack driver made in America, the Ridgeline FFT is for those who seek the thrill of the hunt and the joy of storytelling. Picture yourself returning to camp, Ridgeline FFT in hand, ready to share the day's adventures. Head to your local shop, pick one up. You've got to feel this rifle to believe it. Let the Ridgeline FFT be part of your hunting stories and the legacy you pass down.
I'll touch a little bit on like how Idaho went when I came back. So this video on my YouTube channel, it's called Fear, and the reason behind that was because the whole time when I was debating on not going, I had every excuse like to not go. I easily could have took the refund, banked the work vacation. Yeah. I knew it was going to be a crappy hunt, like honestly, with everything, with the burns and everything. And but it just came down to like, well, what's stopping you? Like you're afraid of not punching the tag? Like, are you afraid of what other people will think of you if you don't punch the tag? Like, that's all a bullshit excuse.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, why not just go and bet on yourself, and who cares? Like, just give it if you give it 110%, which like, you know, you have to be tied to the truth to that, then do it. So that's what I did. I got out there. I knew that it was going to be tough because there was no water like up high, and their season runs from, in this unit, it was October 10th through the 31st, and I elected to hunt basically the back half.
Okay.
I think in hindsight, after talking with my buddies that live out west, and one buddy I know out there in Idaho, he kills some pretty good bucks. I said, maybe if I was to do it all again, I'd hunt beginning part of the season, because I found that like I didn't really get many benefits of hunting the end of October because there was no sign of the mule deer rut whatsoever. The bucks were definitely bumped around from being hunted, and also elk hunters in there and everything. So they're by themselves, they're in the timber, you're fighting the weather. And I was thinking like, man, maybe if I was to do it again, since that season ends on Halloween, if it was to give me some days in November, maybe, closer to the rut, but maybe that beginning of October where you're not fighting the weather as much, and maybe you're getting them not as like jazzed up, maybe in their September patterns a little bit more. I don't know. That's something that I learned, and he did agree with that. That's what he does out there.
Yeah.
I was like, I wish you would have told me earlier. But no, I was hunting those bears at the time anyway. But I got out there and I realized that high country there was no water at all. But access wasn't quite like the big national forests I'm used to hunting in Colorado. I could really drive my truck in a good ways to most areas, and after 2-3 days, have these basins pretty well glassed up. So that was my plan, and that way I could pack in water and be able to like hunt effectively. So that's kind of what I did. You can kind of see that in the video. I would spend a couple days just bouncing around, being up high, and it consistently was, man. I'm a big if something's not working, change. Like like there's that episode of Seinfeld where George Costanza is like, I'm just going to do the opposite of everything and see like what works. So I try to maybe even do that when I'm hunting. Like, like I was up high in these like north basins, like north facing timber. I was like, maybe they're just hiding in there. And I was seeing a lot of does. Like I said, like every spot, I felt like, I was playing a somewhat right of a game, but just not getting on the box. And then I'd go bounce to some lower country, glass up some south slopes. And then I'm like, no, I'm just going to still hunt during these kind of like at these last light kind of moments. And that had worked, but, still hunting, even a successful still hunter, it's not 100%. You're still going to bump deer. And it's worked for me in the past. I got my Colorado buck in 2023 still hunting, but I bumped a couple good bucks doing that. The one, like I said, was real nice, and I was probably within 50 of him, but I came in a little high, and he was right below me in the timber, sun going down, so those thermals just went right to him, and he started hopping before I could get him in the scope. But weather was tough, man. I've hunted Colorado late season in snow and really cold, but sometimes it's not too bad. By midday, you get that big mountain sun.
Yeah.
You can at least get your stuff dried out, and then it's not too cold. But this part in Idaho, man, like it would just snow like squall all day, most of the days. And it was like a wet snow too. And like, so it was just a lot of, I was wet, boots stayed wet, things freeze. You just,
hips start to ache, high stepping through the snow.
Out. Yeah. And then big snow too, which it's just tough, man. So I was up there. I didn't have a hot tent. I was just in a Hilleberg Nyack. So it was pretty tough. And but it definitely tested my mental and my physical. I feel like I learned a lot more about deer. I got into an area the last couple of days where, I was getting on a ton of elk. I saw like a bunch of herds coming down and everything. But some lower country I got into some more deer, and I'm like, maybe could have spent some more time here. But again, it's definitely a lot of lessons learned.
Hell yeah.
And glad I went. But that was that hunt. That was definitely a tough adventure too.
That's cool, man. That is cool. Well, I actually want to do something unique that I've not done before. But you've inspired me because you came all the way from the East Coast to come hunt Colorado, and you just fell in love with it. Like, I want you to wrap up. We're going to do a little bit more after, of course. You can tell people where to find you and your YouTube and all that stuff. But I want you to do a motivational speech firing up my listeners to go out and hunt west. I'm putting you on the spot. Do you got one for me?
Absolutely, dude.
I knew you would. Let's go.
No, in all seriousness, I, over the last few years, just really pursuing these things that I really wanted to do, like take my fitness more seriously, do big endurance races, and do big backcountry hunts, and all these things. And what I found is really I think we all deep down know what we want to do. Like, what do you sometimes I just want to tell people I talk to that are they're just going through a lot or whatever. And I'm like, well, what do you want to do? What do you spend time at night watching on YouTube? Like, what do you think man, that's cool. I wish I could do that. Like, pursue that thing.
Yeah.
Like, that is your thing. And it's going to be it's going to take 10 times longer to get good at it. It's going to be 100 times harder than you ever thought. But I am the most average high school athlete just by having big dreams and consistently showing up every single day. I've been able to be like qualify for Boston and marathons. I've been able to, dude, even my family, like when I started saying like, I want to go hunt solo, like they didn't really believe in me. Like they told me like they kind of like freaked out. Like I put in for this like leftover deer tag a couple years ago and I'm like, I'm going. But I didn't get it. And they like, I don't blame them because I didn't give them evidence that I could do that. Right. But they were like, you're crazy. Like, no, like you're crazy. But I was like, I'm an adult. You can't tell me what to do.
Okay.
But you eventually, eventually just worked up to it and they can tell this huge part of my life. And now it was like, yeah, good luck. Like, go get them. But anyway, my point is like, you just got to do it. You just got to commit to it. Work at it every single day, whatever your goals are. And this might sound a little extreme, but dude, we're all going to die like one day. You know what I mean? We all get to live once. And I really like, that doesn't freak me out, that thought. I mean, it is a fact. It actually excites me because it's like, I wake up every single day and I'm like, just going to pursue these things I want to do. And I even have this tattoo on the back of my arm here, Ecclesiastes 9:10, and it says, whatever the hand findeth, do with all your might, because where you are going, which is the grave, there is no knowledge, nor wisdom, nor plan, nor device. So to me, that is God's way of saying, like, YOLO. You only live one time.
That's God's YOLO. Okay.
When you find your thing, and I truly think I have, like, I'm not saying I have it all figured out. Like, I'm 28. Like, I haven't lived, full life, like a long life or anything, but it's like, just, I think I found my thing and I've been pursuing it wholeheartedly and I've built a lot more self-esteem and I'm a lot happier with it. Like, I don't know. I think so if that's what you want to do, if you keep saying every year, like, man, I think I'd want to hunt west. I think I want to hunt elk. Like, that looks cool. Or I want to get more fit, or I want to anything, like make more money, like all these things, like you just have to do it. And it's going to be hard, but that's okay. It's going to be hard and that's okay. Just keep going. That's it.
And to add to your point, it's only going to get harder as you get older and as it becomes harder to draw tags. So get out there and do it, guys. Weston, man, this was fun. I appreciate you for coming on, filling out the form, getting out here and sharing your stories. It was really fun to hear it. Kind of that epic saga of a whole season and not giving up. That's what we all need to hear. So thank you, man. I appreciate you. Let's do this. Let's tell the people where they can find you. Tell them your socials, your YouTubes, whatever you want to share.
Yep. So I'm pretty active on Instagram. It's just my name at Weston Homa, WestonHoma. YouTube, same thing, Weston Homa. So I have my hunt films on there. This is something that I'm going to do forever. I have a pretty diversified portfolio of points and for different species and states. Yeah. So a lot of that's going to come. I also just like to share all the training and things I've learned. I'm never going to say like, this is the only way. I just, I'm more just like, hey, this is what I do. It works for me. I love learning from other people and all those things, and just going to share also. I think these big endurance events and stuff, like, they just help me a lot with these hard hunts too. So share a little bit of that. And then that's all to come on the YouTube. And then I'm also on Facebook, Weston Homa, same thing. So I love connecting with guys, helping guys like get going. Like, I have that hunt film of my Idaho hunt. Dude from Mississippi reached out to me. He said, hey, I'm going to go hunt Idaho next year. First time. I'm from, back east, down south. I don't know what I'm doing. Can I just pick your brain? I gave the dude my phone number. Yeah. I was like, sure, man. And we were just BSing. And again, I told him like what works for me and things to expect. And I was like, you just, call me anytime. So I just love, connecting with guys, learning from guys, helping guys out. And yeah, so that's where you can find me. And yeah.
Sweet, man. Sweet. Well, I will put links to all that stuff in the show notes to make it extra easy, so people don't even have to Google you. They can just click on, the notes to what we're already listening to. So, Weston, man, thank you again. I appreciate you. It was a lot of fun hearing your stories, and I have a feeling we're going to have you back here in a couple of years with a handful of more stories for us, man. So, thank you.
I love it, man. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, of course. All right, guys, that's it. Another couple stories in the books. Again, thanks to Weston for reaching out. He is a listener. Went online, found my little form, I guess is what you can call it, and filled it out saying, hey, I've got some stories to tell. So if you have some stories, check out the website, check out the Instagram, whatever it is. There's links everywhere. I believe there's even one in the show notes. Just click on it, fill it out. We will be in touch and hopefully get you on the podcast here shortly. That being said, guys, thank you very much for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. Please share the podcast with one person today. And other than that, get out there and make some stories of your own. Thank you.